Welcome to American Outdoors, and on this episode I'm going to be removing the entire rear end assembly from this 2004 Chevy Tahoe LT. I'm going to call this particular episode the Poverty Edition. This is for the folks who are on a limited budget, that don't have the money, don't have a shop, don't have a lift, they might have a few tools, and they've got to get their wheels back on the road for work or school or whatever. So this is going to be a one-man job. I'll be doing this flat on my back, no lift, no garage, just using basic hand tools. Now, currently, the pinion bearing is wasted on this rear end, and the carrier bearing's going out. It's just more practical and easier and quicker to just change out the entire rear end assembly. And that is including the rear disc brakes, the calipers, brake lines, the whole shebang. We're just going to tear it all out and replace everything from the other unit. I also wanted to mention that the rear ends will interchange with most of the Tahoes, the Suburbans, the Yukons, and some Escalades from around 1999 to 2006, but I'm going to post a more specific list in the video. And you can also actually use truck assemblies like from the Silverado. However, in a case like that, you're going to have to, those were leaf spring rear ends, so you're going to have to weld pads for the coil springs so they'd work under a vehicle like this. Also, when replacing the rear end assembly on one of these SUVs, you're going to need to use another assembly that has the same rear gear ratio. The axle codes or the RPO codes are listed on a glove box sticker. It's a service identification sticker, and these codes will indicate the type of the rear axle, the gear ratio, and whether it's got a limited slip differential. Now, you can find out what gear ratio your SUV has by referencing that sticker, which is right in here. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but in this instance, this is an LT, and it normally has what's known as a GT4, which is a 373 gear ratio. Most of these came with either a GU4, a 308, a GU5, a 323, and also there was a GT5, which was a 410 ratio. And this kind of matters if you're changing the rear end fluid too. You can look for what's known as a G80, which is the limited slip option. So I'll be using 2 jack stands and then some wrenches sized 11, 13, 15, 18, and 19 millimeters. Some sockets. Impact sockets are preferable, but 18 millimeter, 21 millimeter, 22 millimeter. A swivel and a short extension, 3/8, half-inch drive, ratchets, or an impact if you've got it. I'm going to be using a DeWalt 20-volt impact, a large flathead screwdriver, a pry bar, of course a hammer, always a hammer, some pliers or cutters, and naturally a can of penetrating oil. And once you have the vehicle up and supported with jack stands, take the floor jack and keep it under the rear differential and just raised enough to relieve tension off the suspension. was said and done, it took me about 2.5 hours to remove the rear end assembly from this Tahoe. However, that also included me holding the camera with one hand and wrenching with the other, having to redo several shots, sliding in and out from underneath here countless times to get wrenches and sockets, and wrestling with dogs as they kept coming underneath the Tahoe to share their opinion on how they thought I ought to be doing the job. If I'd have had a helper, someone to pass me some wrenches, hold the camera, help me maneuver the rear end as I was pulling it out, I could have saved easily 45 minutes or an hour off the job. Now to reinstall, just rewind the video. If you have any questions or comments, be sure and post below. We try to read everything and answer as many questions as we can. You can also check us out on Facebook, X, and Pinterest, and you can support our channel by hitting that like and subscribe button. From all of us here at American Outdoors, thanks for watching, folks. Hope to see you again soon.